I'm Gary Lumby, I'm Director of Small Business Banking for Yorkshire and Clydesdale Banks. I'm actually now transitioning to a new role as Business Ambassador for the banks, but still very much involved in helping small businesses access finance in this particularly difficult environment. There's no doubt that small businesses in particular have found it very challenging in the current economic environment. Some of them are looking to survive, a few of them are looking to grow, but whatever situation they find themselves in, I think access to finance has been a major issue for them. Undoubtedly, the banking industry has had to react to the current environment and tightened up on their credit policies. Certainly in terms of the people that they are looking to support, they're expecting clients to be much more investor ready. Yeah, I think we all would want to get back to the situation where banks were trusted advisors. I think to a certain extent that trust has been lost, and there's fault on both sides in that respect, particularly the banks, I think. However, what it's important to small businesses to understand that the earlier they engage with their banks, whether it's directly, if they feel capable to do that, or whether it's through their professional advisors, that could be their accountants, it could be their lawyers, it could be the chamber, whoever, it could be a mentor, to engage early with the banks, to actually get their input into their financial requirements, because it's important that there is a two-way relationship, that it is open and honest, that the banks are there to actually, they want to help their customers, but they actually have to understand everything about them to be able to give that correct advice and to set that funding package, whatever that may entail, at the correct level, over the correct term, and of course at the correct price. Well, I think this is the new economy. I don't think this is going to change in the short term. I think growth is going to be particularly slow. We've seen the OBR suggesting at 0.7%. I think that's probably about right. I think in that environment, SMEs are going to find it quite challenging to grow their businesses. A lot of them are simply looking to survive, actually, and they've been doing that for a number of years. I think it's our job within the banking industry to provide that finance for those that are looking to grow, or even, as I said, those who are looking to actually build upon what they've currently achieved, maybe not grow, but certainly survive. And I do think that businesses have now got to think, well, how do I manage in this current environment if we're not going to see much growth? What do I have to do to actually move my business forward? That might be looking to export. It might be looking to diversify their products and services. It might be looking to work with their customers or their suppliers much more closely in more of a collaborative approach, more of a partnership, rather than competing all the time. And actually coming together to look at how to develop each other's businesses and actually find new markets and new avenues for their products and services. I think whether it's exporting or whether it's just investing in the business generally, I think as they have to put the preparation in. They have to make sure that they've got a robust business plan that shows the bank or any investor company that's looking at that particular proposition, that they have thought through the proposition, that they know exactly what the funds are going to be used for. They know what income and what additional revenue that's going to generate, and they know how that's going to be, that borrowing is going to be repaid. And that could be through additional sales. It could be through diversifying into new products that brings new customers on board, and they should also have a fairly reasonable idea about how long that's going to take to generate those revenues to be able to repay that borrowing in the first place. So I think it's about no longer turning up, actually, if it ever was, to the bank or to any company that they're looking to borrow from with things written down on the back of an envelope. It's really about being well prepared, having a well thought through and well researched business plan that the small business owner can feel confident about asking questions on. Now, if they don't feel overconfident, well, perhaps they should be taking their professional advisors with them, taking their mentors with them to the banks to actually sit through the interview with them and to help them give the detail of that to their financial investors, so that they have the help there on hand to ensure that they come across professionally and well prepared, and the Chamber can help them do that as well. Are banks willing to lend to small businesses? That question has been asked actually quite a lot over the last 24 months. The answer is always like a curate's egg. Yes, banks are definitely willing to lend because actually we're in the business of lending money. If we don't lend money, how do we make money? It's as simple as that. Having said that, banks haven't got as much money, haven't got as much liquidity as they've had before because of a number of reasons, and therefore it's fair enough to say that they're being a bit more choosy about who they lend that money to. On the other hand, there's not as many small businesses want to borrow as there was before, and that's quite understandable. In a business environment which is low growth, which there is lots of risks out there, a lot of small businesses are thinking now is not the time to borrow money, now is the time to get my business's affairs in order, to reduce my costs, to save money, and to make sure that my business has actually got a long-term future. So therefore, the banks are facing a bit of a conundrum. They do want to lend money, not in the same volumes as before, but certainly want to be open for business. However, some small businesses don't want to borrow money. Those that do want to borrow money and maybe are not investor ready, haven't gone through that proper preparation so that when they are in front of the banks, they create a good impression and a good business case. So I think it's two sides of the same egg. I think somewhere in the middle is the real situation whereby we want businesses in the financial services industry, we want businesses to come forward with properly prepared business plans, with good ideas, with well-researched facts and figures, to actually come to us and ask to borrow money because we want to lend it to them. You know, at a price, actually, in a low interest environment, which is still pretty much affordable. I think the Chamber has always been one of those organisations that SMEs can turn to in their hour of need, shall we say. Whether it's the mentoring services that the Chamber has recently introduced, whether it's the passport or export services that they help deliver in conjunction with UKTI, or whether it's simply pre-start or start-up training services that also the Chamber do. I think the first thing SMEs should realise is that they should come and talk to the Chamber, certainly join if they're not already members, and actually utilise the many services that the Chamber can help them with in terms of growing their businesses or making their businesses more resilient in the current economic climate. I always think as a small business, the more partners you can have, the more advisors you can have, I think the better it is, the better chance you have of being successful. And I would certainly recommend them that they did talk to the Chamber, and together I'm sure that they can make their businesses better.